Hey guys, welcome back. I've been meaning to make a video on this topic for a while now. And now that I've purchased a couple sets of wheels, for both the 964 and the R34, I figured it was the ideal time. Let's start off with some awesome stuff and then get into what I want to talk about for a bit in this video. More specifically why wheels are such a pain in the butt here in Germany. And then I'll show you the best cheap wheels I could find for the Porsche. Let's get into it. Alright. These are T37V Mark IIs in 18x11 ET-7 and 18x12 ET-20. I've been dreaming about these wheels ever since they have been released a couple years back. Truth is, they're somewhat expensive, and the worst part is that I will never be able to get them legalized in Germany. We'll get to that. When it comes to wheels, the first question many enthusiasts are asking, why should they pay for the real deal when there is a cheaper alternative? On one hand, there's the obvious. Many known wheel manufacturers are making forged wheels that will stand up to much more abuse compared to their replica cast counterparts. But there's nuances to that. There's plenty of replica and cast wheel manufacturers in all sorts of different motorsport disciplines such as Formula Drift. I mean, even for some of us weekend warriors, cast wheels simply are the difference of being able to go out to the track or not. Oh yes. Not everyone can afford to beat up a brand new set of forged wheels. I sure as hell won't. Truth is, most cast wheels available on the market nowadays are made to solid standards, such as the very well-known JWL standard, which entails a testing procedure that ensures the safety under normal conditions. Fact is, cast wheels break under the wrong circumstance, no matter work or rotor. But I get it. The most hardcore money is no object car guys will never buy a replica, and argue that the creators of a design should ultimately be the ones getting paid for it. But you see, I'm having an issue with that. Let's just take a manufacturer like Rotiform, for example. They are doing something that Race could be doing as well. While they have their forged monoblock lineup, they are also offering many of those wheels as a cast version, which significantly reduces the cost. Going back to the T37 stuff, it is obviously possible to build them as a cast version, as many replicas have proven by now. But Race simply refuses to make them as cast, even though they obviously have the capabilities to do so, considering they are offering plenty of other cast wheels in their Graham Lights and Versus lineups, which also come at a significantly lower price tag. Did you ever wonder why there weren't many replicas around of wheels like the Work XD9, for example? It's a cast wheel made by Work, which already came with a competitive pricing, meaning there is literally no reason to buy a replica when you can have the real wheel for nearly the same price. If Race was to frickin' make a T37 cast version of their wheel, they'd wipe out half the replica wheel market in the entire world, and make a pretty penny while doing so. Considering how many replica wheels sold are made to look like T37s, my estimation isn't even that far-fetched if you ask me. For this reason, for Race's refusal to offer something more competitively priced when they clearly have the capacity to do so, I'm refusing to give them more money for something I will be beating on and someone else can provide at a quarter of the cost. So you might be asking, why did I buy these if I believe Race should be in fact making a cheaper alternative? Mind you, I've bought two brand new sets of T37s over the years. I bought these Mark IIs now because there's simply no more extreme and better looking monoblock wheel ever made. And replica manufacturers ain't gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole, because the market for them in these crazy sizes is just way too small. And for that very reason, Race is getting my money. This time around. Again. It isn't the only set I bought though. I bought a 19x10.5 ET22 T37 replica from a very popular manufacturer here in Europe. I'm not even gonna name the brand or anything, as I'm not about to advocate buying replicas. But what I'm gonna tell you is why I bought these. Well, it's difficult. Being in Germany and being a car guy sometimes causes issues over here. As ridiculous and counterintuitive as it sounds, these are the only wheels I'm gonna be able to drive legally here in Germany. That's how messed up the system here is. I'm not going to go into grey areas and dealings some manufacturers have with the TÜV over here, but what I can tell you is that they won't recognize any standard from outside Germany unless there's documentation for it. Because none of the Japanese wheel manufacturers really do care for additional German-specific documentation, because it costs money. And truth is, the JWL standard should easily suffice. But that's not how it works over here. If there's money to be made, the TÜV's in. But what that means is that wheel manufacturers that want to sell here in Europe, or more specifically here in Germany, are essentially forced to get some sort of documentation. Otherwise no one's gonna buy their wheels over here. Well, apart from me. However, these wheels do have documentation with them, which means I can put them on my Skyline and not get into trouble with the authorities. And those do also like to make money and make our car guys' lives miserable in the process. But who cares about legal wheels? I didn't drag you here to show you some replicas of my Skyline, did I now? Let's get some tires mounted.
As you may have seen already, for the Mark IIs I opted for a set of Nankang AR1s. I picked them because they're the best looking tire I know. I decided to go with a 265/35 on the fronts and a 295/30 on the rears. It'll be the perfect setup with a very mild stretch. The rears come with a very nice black billet valve, so I popped those in and moved on to mounting the tires. I lubed up the tires and even taped off the rim of the wheel because I was so scared of marking it somehow. Turns out the 12J wide wheel and the 295 combination was too much for our tire machine, and we essentially had to force on the first beads so the tire machine arm could reach the inside for the final bead. That wasn't too bad though. In general, when dealing with small sidewall tires, stretched or slightly stretched tires are always much easier to get onto a rim than a fat tire. Next up was taking off the XC9s with its bases to put up the new wheels, and my nephew helped me with everything. Mostly because we were playing video games right after that. Turns out I calculated right. These wheels just look incredible. And they fit very nice. To be honest though, in the back it doesn't seem as tight as in the front. Bang on here. But yeah, looks pretty damn amazing. Anyway, as for an update, I'll be making molds for the rear extensions as well as the side skirt extensions quite soon, which I will be making a video about as well. I made a ton of adjustments and printed out some new ones already, of which I will be making a mold. But yeah, things are moving along. All I'm going to do now is take it out for a quick drive to see that nothing's rubbing, and we can start talking Porsche wheels. I wish that either set I just showed you would have worked for the 964. But that ain't the world we live in. So here's the probably cheapest set of wheels I've ever purchased. These are 18 by 8.5 and 18 by 10 RH turbos. When I got them, they were in pretty bad condition. They looked like someone attempted to repaint them and awfully failed at doing so. Which is why I got them for just 200 bucks. I heard that these wheels go for substantially more outside Germany, but here you can find plenty of these for a fairly decent price. First I cleaned them up with a good old Felgenteufel, which gives it a nice bleeding effect, and then I moved on to attempt to paint strip them, because I was dead set on refinishing them myself. I said attempt because it turns out that all paint strippers you can buy nowadays due to regulations are just pure junk. Luckily a friend of mine has a guy that's been powder coating bike frames for his bike shop for years, and he offered to have them coated for just 150 bucks. That plus 70 bucks for the sandblasting. All in all it was a pretty good deal, so I said yes, and a few days later I had a nicely finished set of wheels.
That was money well spent. Again, time to put on some tires, and again a set of Nankangs. This time around a set of NS2Rs in 225/40 front and 265/35 rear. These tires were a tad harder to mount, but in return they were super easy to balance. An hour later I gave them a quick wash with my nephew number 2 helping out as well, and that leaves us with a solid set of wheels for the Porsche to start off with. In total I spent under 500 bucks for freshly refinished wheels with center caps. I'm taking these with me to Bavaria, where my Porsche currently resides, and will be showing you the wheels on the car in the next video. Thanks for watching guys, bye.